Might be having some more. I swear. Go to do this training and then boom. The phone wants to ring. Although it is mum and I was trying to get a hold of my mum because she is in Napier back home and it's flooding bad in that area. So it was good that she called, except for it messed up my live here. But anyway, we're back on. And I want to talk about I want to just talk about how specifically this year my work will be supporting Indigenous wahine, Indigenous women, and how it helps them take up space. So it's all well and good to kind of make statements like that. I kind of want to back it up and speak and just show and give some context to how we do that. So got me trusty whiteboard eraser, a tea towel. So we're just going to wipe this off. Supporting Indigenous women to take up space, y'all. And we're going to jump in straight into what that looks like and why it's important. So just a quick little, let me find my thread and get me going here. The mission for me, the vision for me, the aim, the purpose of why I'm doing what I'm doing this year is to see more Indigenous women take up space authentically. And that brings me to a really, really good point that we're gonna go with right here. Bro, where's my whiteboard markers? Okay, got them. It brings me to a really, really powerful point. There's a couple of things that I've found through one, just working with Indigenous women over the last few years, specifically holding spaces and just being really privy and like having that access to just corridor and talk with our women. There's a few things that we really deeply want, and then I verified these from within my own experience and then my circle around me. And it is one of the most important things to her is to create a legacy. Okay, a legacy for our babies, our next 7 generations, right? This is the kind of legacy we're talking about, is a 7 generations forward kind of legacy. Not just having enough in her lifetime or for the next, for the next generation. It's like a 7 generation thing, and we can feel it within our being. And so legacy is a huge one for our women, our Indigenous women. And the other one which I want to speak about is authenticity. This is another thing that we want as Indigenous women, is we want to build that legacy, but we want to be authentic in building that legacy. Now, let me give you some examples of that and what it is and what it isn't. And I'm just going to kind of jam and just riff here really naturally. And that's an example of authenticity. It's not, like a structure. It's not structured. It's just jamming, and it's just natural. She wants to be natural, right? So one of the biggest problems, let me just point this out, is that we often, we can either, okay, my mind's going a bit fast. Whew. In terms of authenticity, we struggle with fake. Like not authentic. Okay. And so where I'm going with this is that when our women start, following the pull to create her legacy and do what, fulfill her purpose and start awakening to like what she really wants to do, what we really want to do, sometimes we can get to this point where it's like we're doing the work and then we're like, hold on a minute, how am I doing this work? What am I doing? And it can feel, if it feels unauthentic, if it feels like she's just following a system, that she's being told to follow. There's kind of like this point in the journey where it's like, hold on a minute, I don't want to do things this way. And this is where the authenticity part comes in, is that this, what may seem like a breakdown or like a sense of sabotage almost, is really just her going, I want to do things more authentically. I want to do things more natural to me. And this can look like throwing in businesses, throwing in jobs, completely changing, you know, changing what she's doing when it looks like and appears to be quite successful, and and people from the outside looking in be like, why the fuck are you doing that, you know? But to the Indigenous woman, it makes complete sense. It's like, no, this is unnatural. This is a system that I was just blindly following, whatever it may be. And what is being called for within her is that authenticity. So here's the thing. The reason why I'm talking about these is because Unearth Your Worth is on this mission to help our wahine take up space in building her legacy, doing the work that matters to her to, you know, help the next 7 generations, and to do it authentically. We've got a lot of wahine out there building like amazing things. But what I'm seeing more often than not is that these wahine will get to a certain point and go, and get to this point and go, what am I doing? You know, I'm making all this money. Yeah, I've got all this wild success, but it doesn't feel fulfilling, right? And so what this work is about is, before like getting like years down the track and realizing this, and then over like throwing everything in, it's about teaching our wahine about how to be authentically their natural self, like early on, so they don't have this moment of like breakdown of like, you know what, I don't even like what I'm doing. I'm not in alignment with the system or with this work or whatever it is, and kind of overthrow or overhaul a lot of the work that they've already put in. So the authenticity piece really comes down to like, what you're doing, bring you into it now. Activate your Indigenous power now, because that's really what's missing when we come down to it. You know, like my grandmother, for example, she started learning te reo Māori when she was in her, you know, 50s, and then she passed away soon after that. And it was like all these things in life that she put her energy into, it's like towards the end of life, it was like, this is what really mattered, and try to like fit it in. You know, I know wahine myself, I've done it, you know, where we've like stepped into spaces, you know, predominantly like, you know, quite corporate, or just, we're going to call it what it is, like more colonized systems. We've stepped into these systems, and then we've like, you know, succeeded or done pretty well, and then got like years into it and gone, you know what, this is not for me. This is the piece that we're truly searching for, is to be more authentic and to indigenize. We're trying to indigenize these spaces. So how do we help our wahine build their legacy authentically? This is what I'm going to go into. All right. Now, it's got my trusty tea towel from a whiteboard eraser. What do you know about that? All right. So, let's have a little sip of tea. Let's do that. So how do we build this legacy and be authentic? Yeah. And what we're doing. When I look around, I'm a projector, and I've got like this amazing ability to just see, you know, see forward, and what I can, and then see things that probably ideally want to be changed. I think it's magical, powerful that, like, it's powerful that our wahine are in corporate spaces, jobs, businesses, you know, environments, communities, and they are doing their thing. The piece that I want to help support is for them to be authentic, more authentically themselves, because what's actually happening at the moment, or what's been happening in the last couple of years, is that, you know, after wahine have been doing their mission for like years, then they come to someone like me and they're like, I don't feel fulfilled. I want to chuck this shit all in. And I'm like, let's not get to there. Let's just help you understand why this is, you know, why this is happening. And, you know, let's try and like take off a few layers and break this all down. This is a huge piece, but this is what I feel to go into. No matter what we're doing, no matter what it is that our legacy or our work might be, I want to take us through 3 main areas that truly trouble us as Indigenous women, and just women in general or humans in general. But really, I am speaking to our wahine, and there's a unique filter that I will, you know, that I'll put over top of it, which is just me being me. But I want us this when we do our work. There's kind of 3 main areas that can really get in the way of what we're up to, and that is our relationships. When they are shitty, when there's things going on in there, we feel exhausted. Okay, when there's lack of communication, you know, it might be arguing, fighting. When there's just like when you don't feel supported, you know, things can be shitty in relationships, and that can get in the way of building a legacy. Next one, finances. When we have frustration, when we are frustrating, when our finances are frustrating, we're worried. We're not focused on building any legacy. We're worried, and that gets in the way, right? It takes a toll on our relationships, which are already under pressure because there's, you know, poor communication. There can be poor communication. Now, if you don't have any of these things going on, like, go you, right? Switch off. You don't need to listen here. But this is just from my, you know, experience, also my life experience as an Indigenous wahine, building something from the ground up. This is the kind of stuff that we kind of got to navigate through, right? And I'm here to bring some awareness, guidance, support to what's going on, so that we can work through it to build that legacy. So when finances are frustrating, we're worried, and we're putting all of our energy into that worry. We almost feed the worry. And so we continue to sabotage success, and that sense of freedom that we can have when it comes to finances. Now, the other piece of it is energy. You know, we are some of the most like in tune beings on this planet when it comes to like the rhythms of nature, you know, going with the rhythms of nature, listening to nature. You know, this is in our DNA, but we can be also so far cut off from our natural source of knowing, listening, and energy, right? We can be very cut off from it, and we can be very lacking in energy, right? And when we're lacking in energy, we're literally, it can sometimes feel like, you know, it's not enjoyable to be around us, because we can be like, you know, reactive, maybe not in action, you know, we're not fulfilled. And so we're just like, ugh. And it's like the opposite of being a joy to be around, right? It's not. We're kind of moody. We can be moody. We can, you know, we don't. Our emotional fitness is just fucking not there, and like aside from all that, like the worst part about it all is that we actually can feel guilty for being this way, and then we're so hard on ourselves for being this way to others, because we actually love those around us. But it's just this vicious cycle of like, you know, not having that energy, not being like joyful to be around, feeling guilty for that and how we treat others, and then being so hard on ourselves because of that. That takes a toll on our energy. Like that whole thing takes a toll on our energy. And here's where I'm going with all of this. How I want to support our wahine this year is about moving those relationships to being more supportive. Supportive relationships is what we want to cultivate. taking our finances and having freedom with them. Now, financial freedom is by your definition. It doesn't just mean having, your money work for you. I remember 10 years ago, I was sitting on the ground on my Commonwealth. We didn't have apps back then, but I had a laptop, and I was paying my bills online, and I was like, my pay doesn't cover my bills. Like, this is not ideal. And I remember just being like, what do I do? I'm not ever in that situation like that. I have freedom, I have another level of freedom when it comes to my financial situation. I ain't a millionaire either. So like, we're always working through the levels, whenever we say, I want to like uplift, I want to work towards my legacy, we're always going up new levels. Legacy equals levels. Like, if you want to build a legacy, you got to be going up that ladder on those levels to get to your legacy. And part of that is overcoming all of this stuff that gets in the way of that work and of those levels on that ladder towards your legacy. So for me, I don't have those issues of my income is lower than, what I need to be able to pay my bills. I don't have that problem. Haven't had it for many, many years, and I'm grateful for that. That's a sense of freedom. However, what I am working on now is having those, 6-figure months, etc. That's what I want. That's what I'm going for. Some people may already be hitting that and are like, I already hit 6-figure months. Like, I'm good financially. My money works for me. I've got investment properties. I'm like, fuck, solid. That's something I aspire to. But it's that sense of freedom that you have at your level within your finances. And when you are being tested regarding your finances, it means you're on a level of your ladder that you need to move up on, and there's work to be done. So it's about creating freedom financially for us. And then the next one is to create some loving energy, to be, to be, when we're natural, when we're in our natural state, we're people can feel the love. We might not be like bubbly and energetic all the time, but when we are in our truth, and this is another level, but when we are living in our truth and our purpose, we're loving to be around. It doesn't mean like, yeah, all the time. It's just, we're all good to be around. We're not projecting, triggered. We've got emotional fitness going on because we are living in our purpose and we're doing our work. So all of this is the mahi. All of this is how Unearth Your Worth will be supporting our Indigenous wahine. I've created a community group. At this stage it's called Savage Spirit, because I was watching the prequel to Yellowstone, and one of the scenes was, on the residential schools, and this nun was just beating the shit out of this one Indigenous girl, and she was literally like, I'm gonna beat the savage spirit out of you. And I was like, wow, we're gonna bring the savage spirit all the way back in 2023. This is what we're about. To be authentic is to bring that savage spirit out of us, the one who knows, who listens, who has that connection to nature and to all around her, to be loving of everything, around us. It doesn't always mean we're like, but it's about just our energy being loving and connected. Love to me means connected. Our communication to be on and connected. Our resources to be up and connected, taking care of us. That's the kind of love I'm talking about. So all of this here, let me get a different color. I'm just going to go with my gut here. All of this here, this whole circle, and what it takes, the situations that we may or may not be currently in, relationships maybe, less than supportive, maybe shitty, frustrating finances, lacking energy, all of that. What you first got to understand is that as Indigenous women, half of these issues, and now my mind is like, don't say that. I'm gonna say it. Most of these issues that we face, are really caused and deep rooted because of my mind's like, don't say it, because of colonization, systemic issues that run deep. It's not just you that has these situations going on. When I say shitty relationships, I really mean I've sat in spaces with wahine that just don't know what to do. And yet they look all together on the surface. They're financially free. They look like they got heaps of energy with all the things they be doing. But the truth, the knuckle of it, is that what we see isn't often what is going on, right? And the reason why I'm painting this out is, one, because I relate, I know, like, lived experience, I understand the journey. Two, it really matters. Like, I've spent kind of like a long time not talking about the stuff we need to talk about. Like, now, need is a strong word. You probably, I need to talk about that, but we do need to talk about it, because if it is a legacy that you want to build, and you want to build it for the next generations, then this is what we've got to look at. This is what we've got to take care of. This is what's got to come out from beneath the carpet, and we've got to do this work. And it's not for everybody, right? It's not for everybody. But those of you that are watching this and is like, oh, okay, then it's you I'm talking to. This work is not for everybody. This is gangster work. Okay? This is decolonization. Human decolonization. Decolonization means removing that which is unnatural. Removing that which was imprinted and planted unnaturally, forcefully, unwillingly upon you. And the thinking, the structures around how we've ended up in some of these situations, this is what we want to wānanga on. This is what we want to talk about. And we want to return you back to your natural state of relating, your natural state of creating resources and finances, your natural state of, sourcing your energy and, creating your energy, creating your source of energy. We want to return you back to your natural state and in these areas. But to do that, my message for today and in this video is that you got to understand that all of these issues that we collectively face as Indigenous wahine, they're unnatural. They're not. This was an organized thing, right? Colonization. These are the effects of colonization. When we've got chaos in our relationships, that was organized. Organized for substances and like disrespect in our relationship. That's colonized views. That was never like that. We've got to get back to our natural way. For us to not have, resources and to be, around the poverty line as Indigenous, that was organized. We got to bring it back to what is real. We were self-sufficient. We were all of that. We got to understand this was organized. This was what was a part of someone's plan. And we're kind of still living in that if we're stuck in these things. We're going to understand that us like not being on purpose and feeling like, not on purpose and all the rest of it, and like not taking action, that was organized, that was a part of someone's plan, that we wouldn't be in our truth and our power, right? We've got to understand this and then take up the space. We've got to take up the space. We're going to take it up for our grandmothers that were beaten into submission and silence. We're going to take it up for them because they were denied that. And then we're going to take up some more for our next 7 generations that are coming in, so that they will never forget that they are allowed, they are approved, and they are safe to have supportive relationships, to have financial freedom, and to have loving energy in our environments. This is how hard we're going to work, and it's not for everyone. This does not get handed on a silver platter to you. You got to work for it. You have, and I did a video the other day about what it takes. And it's about looking. It's about, being guided to look at the stuff safely. We will only do this work if we feel safe. And I mentioned that in my previous video. Safety means you can feel that you will survive the journey. And you will feel that when you can feel the resonance of the one who's telling you that you will be all right. And I'm telling you, you will be all right, but it's going to be some hard work. It's going to be some of the hardest work you've ever done, right? And I ain't going to sugarcoat that for you. In fact, I don't want to sugarcoat it for you. I want you to know that it's hard work. I want gladiators to come and knock on my door and say, I want to do this work. I don't want non-gladiators, because when it gets to the time of looking at stuff and you ain't in your gladiator, you're not going to do the work. And yeah, it's like, let's just like not, let's like make sure that you're okay and you're ready and you understand the assignment. So because of that, Unearth Your Worth, we're creating a community space where it's a little lighter and it's more awareness building in that space and that community that we're building. My previous clients and students that I've like hand taught, they will be also holding space in that community, and I will be walking, gladiators, gangsters, people who are like, okay, I'm ready to look at this. I'm ready to look at this. I want to look at this. This actually excites me. The crazy ones, I'm going to be walking you through this one-on-one personally. So we've got the community where this may need a bit more digestion. And then we've got the one-on work with me, all my clients. I trust them, worked together for years. They know this. They know the kaupapa. And I trust them to do this work. And if you feel aligned with them after being in the community, then you can journey one-on-one with them. But this is the mahi. This is where we've got to go. And this is what it takes to build an authentic legacy as an Indigenous woman. And I've got one last closing piece to share with you, is that it may feel scary. It may feel like, now when I say scary, it could feel like you could feel a little hot around this message and looking at me like, it could feel just edgy, right? For you listening to this, hearing my passion. Maybe you're thinking, because we don't like being told what to do as Indigenous wahine, we do not like being told what to do, especially if we're not in that space right now. But there's one powerful thing about us. We recognize real. We are real and we recognize real. And I've had some people that did not like me, knock on my door and literally tell me, I don't really like you, but I know I need to be here. We are the best. We have the best of connections after, these years that we've spent together working. One thing that I know about our wahine is that we recognize real when we hear it and see it. And even though this may feel scary, you know what's real. And this is the mahi. This is the mahi to build our legacy. To build our legacies authentically. And the way will show itself. Like just doing this video has revealed so much to me about what's next. But I didn't know that until I did the video, and I'm hearing things pop off. The same is for you. The way will show itself when you show up to the journey and you commit to taking the steps on the journey. That's how it works. So if you've got any questions, please let me know on wherever you're watching this, Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, YouTube. Let me know if you have questions. Inbox me if you don't feel comfortable to put those questions publicly. Please inbox me and just reference the video that you've watched, and I will come back to you. Anyhow, I'll leave it there for now. I hope you have a massive day, and we'll call it all again soon. Kia ora.